I guess we're good.
We're good.
We're good. Hey guys, what's going on? Happy Wednesday night to everybody. Tonight's very special because Josh isn't here.
So special. Hate that guy anyway.
He's gonna watch this on the replay and really not like me. But no, we have a special guest joining myself and Brad. Brad, say hi.
Hi.
We have Theresa Smith joining us, and
I've got a bit of a time delay, apparently.
Technology.
Technology doesn't mix very well with us sometimes.
Yeah. I'll just ignore what's playing on YouTube and.
Oh yeah,
just
definitely
listen on Skype, and it should be in real time.
Yeah, if you want, you can just follow the Skype one. It's a lot easier. That's what we found at least. So.
All right,
Steve Hayes. What do you mean? Sometimes hey now, every once in a while things work. Don't be like that, Steve. Come on now. So yeah,
my first live stream, so be gentle, please.
So yeah, Theresa, welcome to Cask Strength. We've actually met in real life a couple of times now. In Austin, out doing whiskey somm course things, getting those fancy shiny medallions, and drinking a lot of whiskey. So I remember parts of meeting you a couple of different times.
That is one of the dangers of going and meeting up at the Whiskey Vault in Austin.
Yeah, you lose chunks of time somehow. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. There's a vortex.
Yeah.
So, also happy International Whiskey Day to everybody. Let's not forget about that.
For sure.
Do either of you know more about Michael Jackson, and not the singer?
Like the whiskey writer guy? I'm not sure what his title would be. But yes, I have heard of him. I'm familiar with some of his writing, but not a ton.
Yeah, because
I heard, but not. Yeah, don't know much.
well, that backfired on me because I was hoping that one of you would know more about him. So, but yeah, no, he was apparently International Whiskey Day started because of him. I think it got instituted after his death, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of a cool legacy to have, like a day about your profession.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what's in your glasses, guys?
No, I should probably get something going.
You should. For now, I am drinking some Glen Breton single malt 10-year-old from Nova Scotia.
Ooh.
I'm in the middle of Gooderham and Wart's 4-grain, which I did a review on. Actually, no, it was me and you did the review.
We did,
yeah, we did that. Yeah, it's opened up a lot better than when we tried it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Gonna get started with some Shelter Point single malt.
Oh, good call.
The theme tonight is Canadian whiskey. If you don't have Canadian whiskey, pour yourself some maple syrup.
It's the same thing, basically. I mean,
pretty much.
According to most of the world, right? It's alcoholic maple syrup.
So yeah. So what's oh, there we go. John V put a link to International Whiskey Day in the chat for anyone interested in learning a little bit more about the history of it. So what's everyone in the chat drinking? Steve said he's got some Glendronach 15 Tawny Port in the glass, which I haven't tried, but
me either.
Glendronach, all the Glendronachs I've had, besides the 12-year, have been great in my opinion. I thought I was a little bit underwhelmed with the 12-year Glendronach.
Oh, Donald Rance is going for the Wiser's 35. That's tasty stuff.
Ooh,
so fancy.
It's an old bottling, so it's probably even better. Of Glendronach 15.
Oh yeah. We got some Ardbeg in there with Daniel Treadwell. Drinking some Corey Vrecken. That's always good.
Oh, do we have a whiskey baby happening tomorrow? Not drinking anything tonight at the hospital, waiting the birth of our first daughter in the morning. Wow,
Oh, dang.
congratulations, Easy Mac. Cheers.
Cheers for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
I've this is not whiskey related, but I always fear having a daughter because girls frighten me. Christina has taught me to fear.
Yeah, she does that, have that effect sometimes.
She does have that effect. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Easy Mac, congratulations. Hopefully every baby and wife are healthy after everything. So you guys have taken the Psalm classes. And we know how Brad feels about whiskey when he talks about it. Yeah, this is good. This is good. As a Canadian, Theresa, do you share that same level of passion when discussing whiskey?
Theresa is a giant nerd about whiskey.
I can be. You get me talking about whiskey, and it's hard to get me to shut up sometimes. But I enjoy it. It's something I find fascinating. I like learning all that I can about the process, and if there's a chance to try something new, hey, sign me up.
She definitely puts a lot more effort into her tasting notes than I do too. I've seen her little tasting book she keeps notes on. Intense.
One of my favorite things whenever I drop a video is I'm always expecting a comment from you expanding my knowledge. I'll just be in my review like just spouting nonsense, and then you'll come in with a comment and teach me something, and I was like, yes.
I think I've done that only like once or twice. So I do enjoy your reviews. It's nice to actually be able to kind of join in on some of the fun here on camera.
Yeah, no, I honestly, no sarcasm. I love your the comments. It's more knowledge is better. I'm just super lazy, so sometimes my research doesn't go beyond what's on the bottle.
In a lot of cases, that's as far as my research goes as well. But when it comes to the Canadian stuff, actually, I did really enjoy Davin's book, the whiskey thing. Portable Expert, that's what it's called. I actually did really enjoy it. It had all these really interesting stories about the history of where our distilling heritage comes from. And it's closely tied to our agricultural heritage as well, which being from the prairies is something that I see as being really important.
It's like the whole terroir argument as well. Mm-hmm. Right. What was the name of the book again, so people can look it up?
Let's see if I can get it up here so that it actually is seeable. But it's the Canadian Whiskey, a Portable Handbook, 2nd edition. And as I was telling you guys before, though, I only got this far and stopped at chapter 19. I have to go back and finish reading, but it was Canadian Mist, and I didn't feel like it was. Yeah.
It's fair. That's a fair assessment.
I don't need to know more just yet. I'll get back to it.
Everybody stops at Canadian Mist.
They should. If they don't, they should.
I feel like you guys are the experts on that particular brand.
I'm almost out of it again. Finally, it's almost gone.
How you have a whole other bottle?
Oh, you think I do?
Oh. Oh boy. Well, Mitch Weddle's in the chat, and he's a bigger Canadian Mist fan than just about anybody on the face of the earth.
It's true. He passes it out like crazy.
He gives that stuff out to his best friends. Where is he? Cruel. Is he gonna? Did he leave? There he is. Yeah, the Christmas
present. Oh, jeez. Well, at least I have a few months reprieve, maybe.
Maybe. Is that meaning I need to bring you some in April or something?
Please no. No? Well, actually, I can leave it in Texas if you bring it to me in April. So that's fine. That's okay with me.
Oh, Canadian mist.
I can lose it somewhere in Texas before I get to the airport.
It's like, oops, the bottle broke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Yeah, no, I'm not wasting like tax money on bringing Canadian mist back from Texas. That would be crazy.
It's ridiculous, the importing on whiskey into. Well, what's it like out? You're in Alberta, right, Theresa?
I am, yeah.
What's it like bringing whiskey into that province? Because in Toronto, in Ontario, it's freaking disgusting.
Well, I think like, in terms of the liquor store market, it's actually pretty good because we're completely deregulated. So, I shouldn't say completely because, of course, government has to keep their fingers in the pie. But
Right.
in terms of the market economy, it's pretty easy to get a lot of different things. Bringing stuff back across the border from the U.S., it's about the same anywhere because of 1.5 liters. But
you get 1.5?
I think it's 1.5. Like 750 ml bottles is
because it's like 1.14 or something here, or something stupid. It's less than 1.2 liters.
Yeah,
I thought it was 1.5.
it's probably different. Well,
it could be different by the province. I'm not positive.
I don't think it. I thought it was national for customs that way, but maybe it's not.
I don't know. All I know is in Ontario, I can't bring 2 bottles back without risking paying taxes anyway. Then they might wave you through, but they could charge you.
The last time they just waved me through. They said, scratch out the fact that I declared I had a few extra bottles.
Right. Well, that's what I'm hoping is going to happen next time I come home in a few weeks there from my Austin trip, because I'm going to bring a whole bunch back and just, if they charge me, they charge me.
I've got 2 bottles of Eleanor waiting for me. No, 1 bottle of Eleanor and 1 bottle of the Wyoming special bottling.
Oh, yes. At least those are small bottles, so they take less, of the tax fees.
I've actually moved on to my second pour, which is the Canadian rare old whiskey, the Centennial blend of. It's a classic Gooderhams from the 50s and 60s, 15 years old. And I actually was gifted this by Davin DeKirkemo at the Banff Whiskey Experience back in the fall. We did it as a part of the tasting that he did on the history of, Canadian whiskey then and now. And we compared it to one of the modern Gooderham bottlings, but damn, it smells rich.
I'm super jealous. And I think we should talk about that as well. The perception of Canadian whiskey amongst those that have never tried good Canadian whiskey. Because I know there's a lot of people in the chat that were giving us the gears a little bit earlier in the chat about, Canadian whiskey. There's no good Canadian whiskey, blah, blah, blah. There's good Canadian whiskey. It's just hard for even us to get it sometimes.
Yeah. And definitely outside of Canada, most of them don't have distribution or very, very limited distribution, unless you're Canadian Mist or one of the sort of lower tier widespread things.
And the bottom shelf is easy to find. And I think maybe that's a testament in some ways to the power of Canadian whiskey. It's even when it's the bottom shelf stuff, it's very approachable. And very friendly. It doesn't have a lot of harshness that people equate with cheap alcohol. You can get decent mixable alcohol, for $10-20.
Now, does that have anything to do with the way that the Canadian whiskey scene, how it's all brought together, where they distill all the grains separate and then blend them in together? Do you think that has anything to do with the fact that, like, for the most part, the Canadian whiskey is round, like pretty much all rounded, no matter if it's 40%, 50% or so on?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It could be part of that, where you're really mixing to get a very specific flavor profile, and maybe that does play into things a little bit. I don't know. A lot of people think
100%.
that Canadian whiskey has a lot of those maple tones, but it's not like we're aging it in maple wood or even in anything.
It's in the
closely
air.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Maple,
It's just
the maple syrup's just in the air. It's permeated. It's on our money.
It is everywhere. It's true. The air smells mapley sometimes, it permeates everything.
So still in Canada. That's a new face in our chat. He said, "Let's not talk about Clown Loyal when we have the Glenora distillery."
it's actually very exciting to see what's happening with Canadian malt. And, I think you really have to give it to Glen Breton for getting
Absolutely.
that started, because I think they're the producers of the first Canadian malt.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're popping up all over the place, and it's great.
Well, they've been cool now for close to 25, 30 years, something like that.
Something like that. I don't know. Numbers, information, research. I don't know how to do any of that.
We don't believe in that sort of stuff over at this channel.
No, that's all right. Just wing it, right?
I think that's the best way of doing things.
Sure. And you drink whiskey until it makes sense. Yes, you should.
Okay.
What is that you're pouring there, Vito?
The J.P. Weiser's dissertation, which to date is my favorite Canadian whiskey.
So jealous. They kept all of it in Ontario, and I can't get a bottle.
Well, the LCBO likes to just stockpile stuff and sit on it for years upon years. So if another run of bottles does show up, I could pick one up for you and ship it over.
All right. Well, hey, I'm always open to that kind of thing.
Yeah, we can work it out for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Without those federal borders to worry about, it's a lot easier. Shift things around. The problem is getting all of my whiskey out of Texas and Las Vegas and getting it here without causing problems. That's a whole different kind of thing. What should I go for next?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go for some Gooderham and Wort's 11 Souls then.
Oh, I still
Great.
Sorry, Theresa, I interrupted you.
Oh no, I was just saying it's a great story that goes with that bottle too.
The 11 Souls. Yeah, you were. I think you were mentioning something in a comment.
Yeah. Yeah. So when he was coming over, so Gooderham and Worts are business partners, and Worts had come over a few years earlier and was getting started and set up, and Gooderham came over with his wife, and so of course this is. They're making the crossing by sea, and while making the trip, there were some people that died and left behind their children. And so he and his wife, they already had quite a few children of their own, and they adopted these 11 orphans on their trip over. It's like, oh, okay, well, now our family is twice as big, actually bigger, more than twice as big. And he brought them over. And so that's what the 11 Souls is paying homage to, is this act of charity that he did, right as he was on his way getting set up. And so it's actually made from 7 different barrels, all combined to make the 11 Souls.
Very cool.
They're very touching, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that a lot with a lot of the whiskey. A lot of the Canadian whiskeys that I've had recently have done that with just like select barrels for like a sort of a limited sort of run. Like all the J.P. Weiser's rare cast stuff is all that sort of range of blending and whatnot. So. Just want to quickly say hi to a couple of people. Whiskey Crusaders, what's up? Ryan from Whiskey and Barbecues here, trying to get get some people down to Texas. It's gonna happen.
Try to get me to drive to Texas, which is probably going to happen at some point. But that is quite the road trip from here.
I mean, it's only 23 hours, right?
I think it's probably closer to like 28, 30 maybe. And with my car, I got to, every few hours, I got to wait, 20 minutes to a half hour to charge it. So it's probably 35 hours.
I mean, but just think of
I'll make a couple of weeks of it, and I'll make a few, stops overnight, and it'll be great. But I'm not sure exactly when I'll have time to pull that off. But it's going to happen. The planning has started. Not in the summer, though, because Texas is too damn hot to show up like in late June or August or whatever again. Not doing that again.
So are you still on that Centennial?
Just finishing it up. And it's almost got it's got such a barrel mustiness to it. Like it's almost tastes like you can get some barrel char from it. And it's just almost mesquite in the glass. Like it's such a different experience drinking something that's been around for that long. I mean,
excuse me.
It's kind of cool. That's one of the things I love about whiskey, though, is that it transports you through time like that, right? You stop and you actually think about what it is that's in your glass. When was it distilled? When did it go into a barrel? When did it come out? How long has it been sitting in the bottle? I mean, you start to do that math backwards. And I mean, it doesn't take long for the years to add up. And all of a sudden it's like, well, geez, I wasn't even around, I wasn't even a twinkle in anybody's eye, because this is, from before my dad was born almost. Like it's kind of stuff that kind of blows your mind. It's what I love about whiskey,
That's interesting, because I usually don't take that approach, not because I chose not to. It never occurred to me to think of what's in the process enough. Usually, like, I'm more caught up in the environment I'm drinking it in, or what the whiskey is telling me. So, like, when I have a whiskey and I smell Christmas spices, or I smell like a campfire or anything like that. Like, I'm transported to a moment of my life where I was in that moment, and I was like, oh, this reminds me of this moment of my life. But looking at it the other way, like, I think that's a really good a good thing as well, which I think I might start doing now. Just thinking about what's like the process of the whiskey and all that.
Yeah,
I like it. Ed from the Rocket Reviews in. What's going on, Ed? Like the new logo.
James showed up.
James, where is he? Oh, there he is. Hola. I don't speak Spanish, James. English, please.
He's got a y'all on there too.
Oh, he's got a real big drawl. He's from Ohio, and he's got like a weird southern drawl going on. It's really interesting. So what's next on your line there?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Got a few bottles that I haven't actually cracked open yet, and I'm thinking about. I've got my Alberta Premium Dark Horse, which I've been sitting on for a while. Then I've also got some Bareface and Lot 40, which I think I might save the Lot 40. I know we were kind of talking a little about that earlier.
The Bareface, you haven't opened that one yet, right?
I haven't opened my Bareface yet. I've had it before, but I haven't actually cracked this bottle yet.
Do you like it?
I thought it was really interesting. Maybe I will grab that one in honor of our Hobbity master, whose month it is.
The Hobbit who shall not be named.
Yeah.
Or we can name him, whatever. It doesn't matter.
We can name him.
Well, what are we going to name him?
I don't know. Name him the Hobbit. Hopefully he's not. I don't think he's watching. He's probably too busy.
Probably. He's used up all his Facebook time this month already, I'm sure.
Rex has popped in to one or two streams before. that's where he coined my I'm so conflicted about this because he called me the Whiskey Pixie because I asked him for a whiskey nickname, and he said, "You're the Whiskey Pixie," and I was like, "God damn it!" And now it's like a fair amount of people have kept it going.
Yeah,
like, oh god.
As long as it annoys you, it will keep going.
And you know what the funny thing is that I'm not even the smallest person that we know.
No.
Like I'm taller than Ray, even.
Yeah.
I have embraced it, John V. I've embraced it. If you come out in if you come out in October, you may see something funny. So.
The Bareface is interesting. It's got some nice barrel notes that come out, and it's not your traditional Canadian flavor profile. I wouldn't, in my opinion, like it's got some deeper character there than what people might get used to, but it's still an affordable bottle. I think it goes for between $35 and $40, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something about that.
Right here.
Yeah. Oh god, people are saying I should wear a tutu.
Oh jeez.
I am not wearing a tutu, guys. There is a line.
Now
we need like a PBS style donation special, like at such and such a level, Vito will wear a tutu.
All I'm picturing is Ace Ventura.
Sure.
In his
Perfect. Yeah. I wanted to do Ace Ventura for Halloween back when I had hair. But now I feel like it would. Good wigs are hard to find, so it's like I could probably do something. But yeah, no, Ace Ventura, beautiful. Love that scene too.
That would be pretty funny.
You too in combat boots. Yeah, that's way to go, Daniel.
So Theresa,
speaking of which, my brain just exploded. I don't know what I was going to say.
That's not a good sign.
Oh my god! Wow. Carry on. I'm just gonna collect my thoughts for a second and figure out where I was gonna go with that.
Yeah.
All right.
James is willing to put in $10 towards a tutu and a sparkly shirt.
There we go. We can make it. We can make this happen. We can find a level that Vito will accept it. I'm sure. We'll work this out. But anyway,
Donald Rance is asking us if about the Lohan McKinnon Black Sage. And I don't think I've actually tried that one yet. I've had a few from Lohan McKinnon, and they are definitely doing some interesting things, having some fun with the whole Canadian malt idea. But I haven't tried the Black Sage. How about you guys?
Nope.
Never had anything from that distillery.
I've heard that they're doing interesting things. Like I am interested in trying some, but I haven't had a chance.
Can you get it out in Ontario?
I don't think so, at least not very often. But I haven't seen it at the LCBO or on the website or anything. It wouldn't surprise me if it was very rare to show up.
Well, they're based out of BC, and they're still kind of up and coming, so it wouldn't surprise me that they don't quite have the distribution.
Yeah.
But wouldn't surprise me as well to find out that they're working on it, because, like I said, they're doing some fun things.
Zanadian in the chat just said that they missed the LCBO, and I am very curious to understand what they could possibly mean by that, because the LCBO is the bane of my existence.
I'm really hoping he's being sarcastic, because
you never know. I mean, some places have it worse. There are definitely places that have a worse situation than the LCBO, but I wouldn't exactly call it great.
No, definitely not. Dylan's Rye. still in Canada, I haven't. There's someone in the chat that has it. If you guys haven't had it before.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance for Dylan's rye either.
No, he's left the chat. Does Mike talks about Dylan's a lot. I feel like he probably has had it before.
Oh, because they're actually in New Zealand, and New Zealand's selection is horrible compared to the LCB. Okay, fair.
Okay.
I imagine, yeah, Australia is in a similar boat, I suppose, being in the same part of the world. Jeremy, one of the mods here for us and friend of the show, is complaining all the time about the whiskey selection, which makes sense. I mean, there's not a ton of whiskey coming out of that part of the world, and it would be a long process to import things. So I imagine it wouldn't be great.
Well, Star Wars.
Jeremy, yes, because it sucks. Yeah.
He talks about Star Wars a lot, and
Yeah.
it's like that's like a craft distillery out there, right? I think. I probably remembering it correctly.
I'm not sure how big they are. Haven't had a chance to have any yet.
I'm trying to remember if I tried it when I was down at the vault the last time, but I can't recall. Now, someone was asking about Pendleton's 1910 rye. John, I've got a mini of some sort of Pendleton's upstairs that one of my spirit guides gave me, but I haven't actually tried it. So I'm not even sure what Pendleton's is actually like to begin with. So I can't even comment on the rye. How about you guys?
I haven't had it.
I'm very new still into the Canadian whiskey, surprisingly. My extent of my like JP Wise is the distillery that I've had the most expressions from.
Sure.
And yeah,
they're practically local for you, aren't they?
Windsor, I think they're out of.
So in Canadian distillery terms, basically local. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm moving on to some Alberta wheat moonshine.
Oh,
that's actually moonshine and not just fancy up vodka.
Interesting.
So Red Cup, they got their start in Vegreville, which is where the nice big Easter egg is. Everybody knows the Easter egg, right?
I have heard of that.
Yeah. But they moved to Edmonton, and all they're planning to do is make shine. They have no interest in aging whiskey, but they're doing a double distillation. And actually, the story behind their still, I went to visit, and they were telling me that the guy that they got to build it, apparently you have to have some sort of credentials to actually be authorized to build stills, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But seeing as still making is not exactly, craft distilling hasn't been legal until just a few years ago. But they had these two guys that apparently got busted by the RCMP back in like the 60s because they had been, running shine in northern Alberta, and they got busted for, having these stills that they had made. And so when they went to go and present, we want these guys to build us a still, it's like, okay, well, the RCMP report actually counted as government authorization that these guys were qualified still makers.
Outstanding. I think also so many of the laws everywhere around the world are so antiquated. Like there's got to be a faster, cleaner way of getting a lot of these laws just changed out.
You'd think a lot of them are ancient.
Like it's like close to 100 years, right? It's like, come on, we can do it.
Some of them are almost as old as the trees that were used in making the barrels for this 40 Creek Confederation oak, which was at least partially aged in like white oak barrels that were like 150-year-old white oak trees or something. I don't think it was the full maturation, but like at least part of the aging.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I hope there was a reason besides we're gonna cut this tree down because whiskey.
It's as with most things, it's probably a combination. We need the space. Oh, these trees are real old. Well, we could use them to make special barrels that we can charge extra for the whiskey that is made from it because it's special.
Have any of you guys had the 40 Creek Unity before?
No.
Yes, I got to try it back at the Banff Whiskey Experience last fall.
Sweet.
One of the experiences that one of the master classes that I took, we got to try the Unity. And there was actually one of the guys that was actually taking that master class was one of the people who had been involved with picking one of the casks to go in the bottle. It was kind of cool.
Oh, wow.
I don't really remember the whiskey itself, but I remember the story.
That's cool.
I have notes some.
I know you make meticulous notes about all of your tastings. It's great.
So Still in Canada asks, since we're talking about shine, what are your thoughts on legalizing like New Zealand? I have my own opinion on this, but you guys go ahead.
Like legalizing distilling like it is in New Zealand? I think that would be great. That would be, I don't think it'll ever happen, or at least not for years, but I think it'd be great. Open it up.
I think in BC, it's, I believe it's legal out there. I know that they're actually running a craft distilling program out in the Okanagan somewhere. I think that, rather make it legal and, then you can have issue licenses so that you can monitor it and make sure that it's being done safely.
Yeah.
Rather than pushing it underground and making it potentially unsafe. I
know in Ontario, it's there's weird situations. I don't know all the details, but when I was looking into like what it would take to start a distillery and things like that a little while ago, one of the things that came up was the fact that you have to submit a sample of your new make to get a license to become a distiller in Ontario. Well, you can't do that legally without having a distillery license. Like it's not legal to distill, right? So technically, as long as you can prove that you are preparing to submit an application to become a distillery, there's like weird gray area, and I don't know how much people would want to play with that gray area, but it's
Make
a
sure
weird,
you got a kick-ass lawyer.
Exactly, like it's just sounded like super sketchy. Like how do you? But you can't without the thing. Like it just creates a problem. Like I didn't get lawyers involved to like totally decipher the whole situation or anything, but it sounded very convoluted. As with many liquor-based things in Ontario, very convoluted.
I feel like, and if anyone wants more information on home distilling, go check out our buddy Jesse from Still It.
Yes.
His channel.
I'm having network issues. Oh.
Uh-oh. Potentially lost Theresa momentarily.
We'll have to invite her back. But yeah, go check out Jesse's channel. He's from New Zealand. He does home distilling. He explains the whole process that they have down there in terms of all the legalities and whatnot. If it's done the same way in New Zealand, in Canada, the way it's done in New Zealand, I have a better, I support it a bit more than if it was like just you can distill and give away and do all kinds of crazy stuff, because that's just a recipe. I feel like that's a recipe for disaster in Canada.
Right. That's fair. Yeah, it sounds like they have a pretty decent system over in New Zealand where, you can distill all you want, but you can't sell, you can't give it away. It's for personal use, essentially. Technical trouble. It wouldn't be cask strength without some technical issues.
Yeah, we're fine. I think. I hope. Maybe if Theresa There it goes. She left. We'll add her. We'll add her back in a second. Hopefully, it cooperates.
Well, let's find out.
I mean, we were due for something like this.
That's true. It's gone literally several minutes without a technical issue, so we were due.
What's everyone's in everyone's glass at this point in the night? What are we at? About 42 minutes in. She'll be back, hopefully, if technology keeps up.
We shall see.
I'm going to finish off this dissertation. And last pour of the night for myself, lot 40 cast strength.
It's a good call. I'll do the same thing as soon as this Confederation Oak is gone.
Mm-hmm. I haven't had this one yet, even though I've been in front of a bottle like 3 times now in like the past couple of months. Gretzky 99 proof. How do you like that, Zandian? And give us a name so that New Zandian isn't a thing. Will Eagle Rare 10, beautiful. Love that bourbon.
It's good stuff. I mean, it's not Canadian, but I guess we'll let it go this time.
We'll let it go. 2/3 stream is still working, so that's better than most weeks. Yeah, Ian, you're right. You're right.
You're not wrong.
Yep.
Fair.
Yay!
I think.
Yay! She's back.
Let's try that. I'm back.
Hopefully, it pops up on the YouTube now.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, good. I'm not drinking by myself anymore.
Yeah.
Technically, this counts as not drinking by yourself.
Damn it.
Is everyone getting her video? Oh, yeah, she is. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Seems to be working.
Cool.
Maybe she's gone again. Oh, well. She'll work it out, or maybe she won't. Who knows? It's all good.
What's wrong with drink by yourself? What's wrong with grammar, John?
Yikes. Shots fired at the viewers. That's rough.
What is John V drinking that he is that far gone that he forgot grammar?
I think grammar is overrated anyway. Come on.
Yeah.
It's fine. The Canadian Club, that'll do it. Won't even take that much.
Yeah, no.
It rots your brain. It doesn't even get you drunk. It just rots your brain cells.
Nope, she's back.
She's back again.
Yeah.
All right.
Huzzah.
And maybe. We'll see. I don't know what's going on. Oh, I think it keeps freezing on me. Yeah.
That's what we get for trying to get 3 Canadians on at the same time.
Yeah, we don't have enough bandwidth up here.
Right? We're using all of Canada's bandwidth. 98% of Canada's internet is being used on this stream.
Actually, that's one of the things. I guess Canada's supposed to actually have really good networks that way, but
Are we?
damn, I'm in the basement.
That'll do it too.
Okay. Do I dare go in for a 5th whiskey?
Canadian Club is DDoSing Theresa. That must be it.
Thanks, Jeff. Should I put some bottom shelf matters since Mr. Patron is in the chat there?
Sure.
Why not? Sure.
I think me and Brad are both doing the cast strength lot 40 right now.
I will be in a second. I haven't poured it yet, but
okay.
Poured it yet? Because I got my standard Alberta Premium. I'm gonna stay away from going to bottom shelf tonight. I think I've got my Alberta Premium Dark Horse. I might pull out, but if you guys are doing lot 40, I'll do 40.
So Theresa, I have an interesting story about Alberta Premium.
Okay.
So I invited a couple of good friends over for my birthday about a month ago, and halfway through the night, they pull out this box, and it's an LCBO vintage box. I was like, oh, I'm like, did you bring something to share? And they're like, no, this is for you. I was like, oh. It's like, thank you. Like, okay, cool. So I take it out, and it's a bottle of Glendronach peated portwood. I go, oh, thank you so much. This is fantastic. And it was already opened, and they passed it off in my brain as oh, Brad knew that we were getting it, but he wanted to steal a sample before we gave it to you. And me not thinking anything of it, I go, oh, no problem. Brad can take whatever he wants. So I immediately uncork it, pour a little bit in a Glencairn, and I'm smelling it, and my heart sinks. I'm like, oh my God, did it go bad? Like what's wrong with this? I'm like, there's no way. And I feel like Brad saw my face, and he's like, you've had whiskey before where it smells different than it tastes, because I wasn't getting any peat and I wasn't getting any port. And he's like, you've had whiskeys before where it's different taste to nose. He's like, go, have some. I said, okay, fine. Hey Rob, Whiskey and Six is in the chat, just joined us. So I go to taste it, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is Canadian Mist, you assholes. Everyone starts dying. What they did was they took a bottle of Alberta Premium and the Glendronach Peated Portwood and emptied them out, cleaned the bottles, and transferred them into each other. So now I have a bottle of Alberta Premium that has Glendronach Peated Portwood in it, and a bottle of Glendronach Peated Portwood that has Alberta Premium in it.
And he keeps forgetting and almost pouring himself Alberta Premium.
like 3 times now I've gone to I've reached for the Peated Portwood bottle and stopped myself just before I was pouring. I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. This is damn Alberta Premium. How dare you guys?
So funny.
It was a magnificent shenanigan. Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, for myself, if I'm at a bar and they've got Alberta Premium in the well, I'll drink that over JD even. I mean, and I've always been a bit of a Jack gal myself, but I don't know. I guess maybe it goes back to being 18 years old and mixing rye and Coke, and Alberta Premium was the best mix you could get, right?
Sure. There's nostalgia, involved in that kind of thing for sure.
Yeah, I'd go for any Canadian well over Jack Daniel's number 7. Mm-hmm. I really just don't like the sour mash.
Mm. Fair enough.
Yeah,
but that's just me. And I think that if anyone's ever watched Epic Mealtime, I got onto them like after their first video. Like they released their first video, and somehow I was just like on YouTube and I saw their first video. So I watched their whole progression. And at some point in I guess it's an online cooking show, and it got so ridiculous that they were just like getting like magnums of Jack Daniels and incorporated into all the recipes. And so their whole thing was like big swigs with Jack Daniels. So they would just swig right from the bottle. So me being like 21, I was like, I'm gonna be like that. I'm gonna take a big swig out of a bottle of Jack Daniels. So I went to the LCBO, bought a bottle of Jack Daniels. I was at a party, and everyone was going around taking swigs off it. It got to me, and I never had Jack Daniels before. I took a swig, and I immediately just threw up everywhere. And now Jack Daniels is just ruined for me, always.
I actually had to stop drinking whiskey altogether after Millennium Eve, because I had been mixing myself rye and Cokes with Alberta Premium that were about 4 or 5 fingers of Alberta Premium to 1 finger of Coke.
That'll do it.
It did not end well. And, we're all here, so we know that Millennium just kind of wasn't a thing. So, yeah, I kind of regretted that for a few days. And a few years then after that. I can't believe we're like 20 years away from like the anniversary of the biggest nothing that ever was.
It's true. Y2K, man, was such a scare.
I remember.
It's still coming. Ed from the Raw Gut Reviews. Y2K is still coming. Give it time. Let's go. Y3K. What is
Y2K, 2K.
2Y2K. Yeah. And Jeremy Sims
Well,
is trying to get fired as the mod, so that's great.
he's the only one out of all of us that has yet to be threatened with termination.
I'm actively trying to get fired and I can't, so I don't know what the issue is.
I feel like that should be like on your reviews, like when people complain. It's like I'm just here.
Like, I'm just trying to get fired. What are you? They're gonna get shorter and shorter too until I'm fired. You realize that, right?
You're gonna pop out of existence soon. Just
could be.
I've already done that, but I'm a contractor, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Speaking of vaguely work-related things, Theresa, unlike me, you're actually like using your SOM training for like whiskey-related things. Like, how's that going?
It's going. I mean, so far it's not really been so much whiskey-related, but spirits-related. Quite enjoy it. Been working for one of the local distilleries out here for the last year, doing in-store tastings, and it's been a lot of fun. They started putting their new make away. So in 3 years, we should have some whiskey, but we'll see what that happens. It's kind of fun to go out to the distillery when they're running their new make and they bring it to you off the still and say, hey, try this. But be careful, it's 80%.
Yikes.
Lovely.
That sounds like fun.
It is a lot of fun. Now, for some reason tonight, I actually got like the slightest hint of cherry buried in the back of that lot 40 12 year.
That's what I was getting.
Okay.
I couldn't pin it. Maraschino cherries on the cast strength lot 40.
Yeah.
Like proper ones.
Yeah, and something dusty on top of it. And of course you got to have that rye pickle, but it's just such the oddest combination, but damn, it works. I added a bit of water to it too, so I think it may have pushed some of those fruit notes to the top.
That's a good idea, actually. I haven't actually tried it with water yet. Try a little.
The cast strength?
Yeah.
Get more of like a garlic tangy dill.
I have the 11 year, I think, is the one that
the new.
11.
That 11 is aggressive. At least, look, I tried it in the fall, and it struck me as being more aggressive than the 12 year.
Like almost like a jam kind of a note now. It's weird.
Yeah, weird mouthfeel. I wish we could like overlay graphics right now.
Yeah,
I could set that up.
Can you actually?
Yeah, I can set that. I mean, I don't have it set up now, but yes, I can.
We should. For whenever someone says
absolutely,
mouthfeel, just shows up.
I can do that. I can make that happen.
It's almost like sweet tarts after I added that water. Like berry, but tangy and dusty all at the same time. It was never had it do that to me.
Like a berry compote.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just weird. Tastes good, but it's a weird good.
That's the fun thing about whiskey is even if it tastes super weird, that's not necessarily bad. Tastes like shoe leather and old gym socks and grass. It's great.
Well, was it Daniel that was talking about, wine experts and how, or maybe it was somebody else. I can't even remember who, but they're talking about how wine experts, when they're going out and they're actually trying different things, that they actually say that the most complex and different kinds of things are actually things that they don't even enjoy. Like they don't actually even like the taste of it, but it's like, oh, well, yeah, but it's really complex. It's like, yeah, but do you want to drink it? Whereas with whiskey, what I found is that, Isla, being probably some of the more intense stuff, Isla and Campbelltown, I mean, yeah, it's intense and it takes a while to get used to it, but damn, there are nights where there's nothing that I want more than my Springbank or some Kilchoman.
Sure.
Yeah, whiskey's better than one.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I feel like I've heard Eric Waite discuss that before as well. But yeah, no, this lot 40 is really good. I think I would probably still go reach for the dissertation, honestly.
I mean, the dissertation is definitely easier to drink. Like the lot 40 is a punch compared to the dissertation's just sort of rounded flavors.
I'm gonna come back to this when I'm not slightly under the weather.
That's probably a good plan too.
But it is very good. I think I don't know. Maybe it's just my whole thing with rye. I'm not the biggest fan of rye.
Me either. Usually, I mean, the lot 40 cask strength is one of the few ryes that I genuinely enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to switch over to my dark horse here.
Nice.
Yeah, finally cracking the bottle. I mean, down in the States, it's called Dark Batch. They were actually saying back in the fall that they were going to discontinue production. Apparently, they didn't have enough bottles, or they didn't have enough barrels left after the flood of 2013 out here in Alberta. Highwood had one of their barrel houses that was devastated by the flood a few years back. And it sounded like they might have to discontinue it, but hearing rumors that it's actually going to stay on the shelves for a little while longer, at least. So
now, is it, in your opinion, is it leaps and bounds beyond the standard Alberta premium?
My first time trying it.
Oh, this is the first time trying it. Okay, my apologies.
First time trying it. Yeah, I cracked the bottle tonight. I've been sitting on it for a little while here. It is definitely different.
It looks dark.
It's very different.
Where did I put? Oh, there's the Alberta Premium. So let's see if I can get these both in camera. Wow. You can see how much darker. I mean, it is, and I don't know of any Canadian distilleries that are actually adding caramel color to their whiskeys. So I wouldn't think that that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I can't think of any offhand that I know are. So most aren't.
I think it is actually, it's because of how they're aging it. And they say, it's at a higher proof. Well, it's 45 versus a standard 40. So, I mean, take that for what it is. I don't know. I guess I have both of them here. There's no sense not doing them side by side. Like I said, I was going to leave the bottom shelf for tonight, but yeah. Side by side, that's what whiskey's about, right?
So a mingling, this is what it says, a mingling of 12-year-old rye whiskey and 6-year-old small pot rye. Dark Horse has an 8% dollop of well-aged corn whiskey added to flesh out the body.
It's definitely got a nicer nose to it, a little richer. The standard Alberta Premium is almost got a waxy note to it.
And heavily charred American white oak.
Mm-hmm.
I'd try it.
I can bring you some.
Yeah, I don't see anything saying that it has any coloring in it.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
Yeah, I think that's more of a Scotch thing. I don't know really too many others that would do it.
It's only $33 at the LCBO, apparently.
Yeah, no, it's not super pricey. I can bring you a sample next time I'm down. I can leave you a sample, I guess, when I'm in Toronto, since you're escaping.
I mean, the thing is, Alberta Premium, as much as everybody it's always only one man's opinion, but even Jim Murray does rank Alberta Premium pretty high. Now, whether that's compared to similar products from something like Crown Royal. I think it would be interesting to put it in a lineup for people who, you know, I tell this story. My roommate gets mad at me, and the one night I came home from work, she's like, "I hate you." I'm like, "Well, why?" And she's like, "Well, because I used to think that Crown Royal was really good whiskey. And then you've introduced me to all this other stuff." And I'm like, "Well, sorry, I guess."
That's a Canadian's first instinct, is to just say sorry, even
Sorry.
when it's not, where we don't need to apologize for that. It's like, you're welcome. It should be the first thing we say, but we always say sorry.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. You're finally drinking decent whiskey.
Yeah. But I think, you know, Alberta Premium, as much as it's a budget brand, it actually has a lot to offer. And that Dark Horse is actually, it does have a richness to it that exceeds the standard bottling.
I would say it is decently better. I don't know if I would say that I enjoy Dark Horse, but it's definitely better than the standard version, in my opinion.
It's still exceedingly friendly.
Oh, sure. And for the
Canadian
price, I
whiskey
mean,
is
it's
friendly
not
as
that bad.
make it, right?
Jeremy says that our other overlay graphic should be sorry.
I could do that. I could do that.
Mouthfeel and sorry.
Definitely.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. Sorry with an E.
With an E.
Yeah.
With an
Sorry.
E. Rock Gut is doing 3 O's and 2 E's. My goodness.
Sorry. I mean,
getting into phonetics now. There's too much whiskey for us to deal with phonetics.
Yeah, we'll leave that to John V with his grammar.
Yikes. Shots fired at the viewers again. Vito, geez, so aggressive.
I'm ruthless tonight. I'm sorry. Not really.
For the first time ever, a Canadian isn't sorry.
So are you guys excited for Psalm? What is it, Psalm 3? Right?
Psalm 3, yeah. Very excited.
Wow.
And so excited that I'm actually going to Toronto next week to host a tasting, so that I have hosted a tasting officially. One of the requirements is you have had to at least host a tasting so you could talk about it.
A paid tasting too.
Yeah.
Oh. They want to make sure you're professional, right?
Exactly. So
I mixed my 2 Alberta Premiums together, and they're just meh.
Oh, sheesh. Mix a crappy whiskey and an okay whiskey together, and they're okay, I guess. It's fair.
I'm wondering if I have anything I can add to, make them like, oh, this is at least something. But
there's
put some lot 40 in there. See what happens.
I feel like you'd have to add something extremely intense to overtake the volume.
Yeah.
Donald Rance, last year's Pike Creek Speyside or this year's Pike Creek European Oak? Have you guys tried them? And if so, which do you prefer?
I don't think I've tried the Speyside yet. I did get a chance to try European Oak and thought it was really cool.
The Speyside, that's the 21, right? Or is there a different Speyside too? I'm not, because the 21 is finished in Speyside barrels, but I'm not sure if there's another. But I have had that one, and it's good. It's interesting.
It's a little pricey out west. I don't know what it is for you guys in Ontario, but out in Alberta, about 90 or so bucks a bottle, and I haven't been quite.
It was a little bit more than that, I think, but it was around there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I wouldn't say that it was amazing, but it was interesting. It was worth trying for sure. It's the Speyside barrel finish definitely adds a weird element to it of like tastes that my brain wasn't ready to connect to the rest of the whiskey for some reason, because it just was totally out of left field.
Well, and I guess the story behind that European Speyside cask is that Wiser's had actually done something for one of the Scotch distilleries, and so in return, it was like, well, what do you want? They're like, well, send us a barrel. And so that's how they got it, even to begin with, which was like, oh, okay, that's, you know, like that sort of reciprocity is something that's so key to the Scotch industry, that it was kind of cool to see it coming across the pond, so to speak. I don't know. It was. I would love to try some at some point. The European oak, though, was. I remember liking it. Can't remember the specifics without looking at my notes, but the Pike Creek line in general is just so. It's J.P. Wiser's experimental line, so they're doing different things every time and trying out different cask finishes to see what can we do with Canadian whiskey that nobody else is doing, which I think is exciting.
Speaking of notes, Whiskey and Barbecue just asked how we keep track of all of our tasting notes, and I don't. I am a lazy, horrible person. So I just really don't usually. I mean, I just, other than just remembering what I enjoyed about it or whatever, I don't keep meticulous notes. Every once in a while, I'll keep notes on something if it's super interesting, or I want to get a bottle if I have something at a tasting or something. But generally, I don't. I know that Theresa keeps meticulous notes with like graphs and pictures and things. Do you happen to have your notebook handy?
1 second, I'll be right. And you guys keep talking. I'll be right back.
She's way more into the note taking and keeping track of everything that I am.
She reminds me of our buddy Adam. Adam, whenever me and him go to a bar to have a tasting, he's got his phone out as he's drinking, and instead of talking with me, he's writing down all the notes that he has and blah blah blah. And I'm just I don't mind it, because introverted Vito is just like, cool, like I'm fine sitting in silence. Yep. But I'm jealous. Oh shit!
This is so. This is something that actually I got to give props to the Whiskey Hobbit, Daniel. He talked about graphing whiskey, making notes and graphing whiskey so that you have a picture of what it looks like. And I'm trying to kind of move this around so that maybe it'll actually show up for people.
You got it. Got it.
So I adapted this from a tasting wheel from the Whiskey Ambassador program that I attended couple of years back now, as well as the Whiskey Smiths, who were one of the first classes of whiskey sommeliers that graduated. They created this whiskey deductive tasting sheet that you can actually work through. And so I just sort of switch things around a little bit to make it more for making notes when you know what the whiskey is, but you can also use it when you're doing a blind tasting. So Whiskey Smiths, look them up. You can do a free download, or they have booklets available, and
they're great.
That particular style is my own, just sort of cobbled together, and yeah. Oh, hey, somebody posted the link, John. Thank you, John.
Yeah, no, the Whiskey Smith stuff is all great. Like I have some of it, and I've used it occasionally, but I am horribly lazy and forget, and it's just I'm a bad person. But it's super useful.
I find I use my my book really for whiskeys that are a little more common, as opposed to ones that are one-offs. Like when I go, I had a chance to attend a Scotch Malt Whiskey Society tasting last year with a friend. I took my book and I quickly put it away because they're all unicorn whiskeys. And unless you are a Scotch Malt Whiskey Society member, you can't even buy them. So to me, it doesn't make sense to keep notes on those ones.
Sure.
But if you want to know, oh, hey, that's what Lefroy looks like, or this is what I get when I try Westlands or Stranahan's. It's nice to be able to go back and look. But that's me.
Absolutely.
I'm a geek. I own it.
I just have a weird memory when it comes to notes. I'll remember like 70 to 80% of what I've tasted. And then I just rely on everyone around me for, what's the word?
Remembering,
yeah.
Sure.
I'm going to pour myself a little bit of what's in this Glendronach peated portwood glass
A
bottle.
little bit of Alberta Premium to finish out the night.
Just enough to cheers everybody. We're running on about 70 minutes now. Did you guys want to keep talking? Do you want to call it a night?
Oh, where did I get my? John was asking where I got my book.
Whatever.
I made it myself, actually. So.
Oh God, it's awful.
So amazing.
So much of it. I don't know why you did that.
The best part of that whole situation is that I really had nothing to do with it. They just came to me after the fact, like asking for ideas of how to sell him about the fact that they had opened the bottle. It's like, just tell him I took a sample, like whatever, he won't care.
I didn't.
and that's all it took to sell the entire situation. It was like, oh, Brad took something. Like, okay.
I'm gonna end. If we're wrapping up, I'm cool to keep going, but if we're wrapping up, I'm gonna end on Yukon Two Brewers Innovative, which is a sour mash malt. Now, part of what's I guess different about the Canadian whiskey rules compared to anywhere else is that there are no rules.
It's the Wild West.
Yeah,
it is. In the U.S., in order to call it a malt, it has to be 51% malt, aged in new barrels, and blah, 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 blah. In Scotland and Ireland, in order to be called malt, it has to be 100% malted barley. That's Scotland. In Ireland, it has to be at least 30% malted barley and 30% unmalted barley with maybe some other stuff in there. Like it's in Canada, there really are no rules. So what Yukon Two Brewers is doing, they're a brewery that decided that in their off season, they would make whiskey. They've been doing it for 8 or 9 years. And they are using, I believe, 100% malted grains. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't necessarily mean barley the way that it does in other areas. It just means that the grain was malted before they distilled it. So Innovative, number 5, sour mash.
Nice. Well, I don't have that one, but I do have some Two Brewers single malt peated that I guess I'll finish the night of. What's that?
Which one?
12, I think. Yeah, release 12.
Okay. The release, is it release 2 or release 3 and release 7 are also peated malts from Yukon.
Oh, nice.
And oh wow, that Innovative is so floral.
Something else I appreciate about the Two Brewers, synthetic corks.
Yes.
Which is the way to go.
You don't have to worry about them degrading the way that natural cork does.
Exactly.
But yeah, they actually still, I don't know, maybe I can get that in frame. I don't know if maybe not. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. Right.
There you go.
Synthetic corks are where it's at.
Exactly.
They are, but they're putting some, putting some effort into making it, dimpled.
You got to get that good cork squeak,
It does, it's almost like the Lollipop song, like.
Exactly.
So William Davelar had asked, and I misunderstood his question earlier. Top Canadian whiskey for beginners. I didn't read that properly. I'm sorry, Will. Ignore what I said or my initial answer. Geez, I don't know. You guys, I think Theresa might have more experience with that. Truthfully, like really, all I have to go with is like Alberta Premium, Canadian Mist, and then some like rare cast stuff. So
I mean, for beginners, I would even like the JP Weiser's rare cask stuff, like ignoring
harder to get, though.
price. I mean, depending on where you are, yeah, it could be a pain. But if you can get it, then that's a great beginner Canadian whiskey because they're not spiky, but you get all of the flavor profile.
I would even say that the Gooderhams line, I mean, it's going to be a premium price that you're paying for it. But it is really interesting, and they're trying to add complexity. I mean, and it's from this. It's from Corby, which is owns JP Weiser's. They own Pike Creek. I'm trying to think what else is in that Northern Border collection, which I think it's 4 or 5 different brands. The Lot 40 is in there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely pricier. Now, and I mean, people like to think about, in terms of where's a good place to start in whiskey in general. If you want to start drinking neat, you want something that's approachable. You want something that's not going to be really aggressive. And for all the hate that it gets from the entrenched whiskey people, Crown Royal is an easy introduction to whiskey neat. It's, in my opinion, very approachable, and it's not going to fight you. It's going to be very easy. But like I said earlier, when I talked about my roommate who, that was her idea of premium whiskey, you start getting above that $30 price point, and you're going to start finding some very interesting things. The Bareface, again, they're doing, like, it's got an age statement. Where else can you get an age statement on Canadian whiskey for $35?
Yeah.
Not a lot of places.
Not a lot of
places. As soon as you sort of break that bottom shelf barrier in Canadian, it gets a lot more interesting very quickly. But unfortunately, that bottom shelf is all that most people outside of Canada can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Donald Rance had mentioned the regular Lot 40, JP Weiser's 15, Pike Creek 10.
Yeah. And I mean, even like a lot of the stuff coming from Glen
so.
Breton, like the Glen Breton 10 is like, it's not super expensive. It's just hard to get a lot of places. Like if you can find it, then great.
If you're in Canada, you can get it, but
yeah.
I didn't pull it out tonight, but I do have my Glen Breton Ice, which is also aged 10 years and is at cask strength 57.2%.
Ooh,
the first time I included it at a tasting, I kind of forgot to tell my friends.
Oh, geez.
And there were a couple of them that decided to work ahead. Now, we had started the night with the absolutely gorgeous 21-year-old Glenfiddich Winter Storm.
Oh, it's so good.
That is tasty, yeah.
It is. It's
so good.
A 21-year-old Glenfiddich Scotch, finished in ice wine barrels from Ontario. We started the night with that. We were trying it with some late harvest wine just to sort of, do you get the wine notes in the whiskey? And I had 2 or 3 friends that worked ahead and dove into the Glen Breton. The Glenfiddich was 43%. The Glenfiddich is over 57.
Yep.
They took a sip and they're like, oh, wait. Damn.
Serves them right.
Yeah.
Sorry, forgot to warn you.
Yeah, no, the Glenfiddich Winter Storm, it's ice wine barrels from Peller Estates, which is my favorite Ontario winery. And I have 2 bottles of their ice wine in the freezer right now. And the when I was at a local Scotch bar and for a tasting, the Canadian rep brought Winter Storm for everyone to try. And the second I smelt it and like tasted it, I was like, my God, like the combination was just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
The only reason that I own Winter Storm is because in Calgary, we have a store called World of Whiskey, and they did a draw for it. I actually had a chance to try it before they did the draw, and when I tried it at first, I actually thought it was, I'm like, I know this isn't peated, but I'm getting peat notes from it. I'm like, why is that? All of a sudden I made the connect. I'm like, oh, wait, no, that's not peat. That's wood. It's 21 years old.
Yeah.
It's got some heavy barrel influence if you drink it fresh. As it turns out, I won the bottle. When I tried it at the tasting, I'd let it sit for a good 20 minutes before I actually sipped it. And oh, damn, you let it open up, and damn, it's a gorgeous whiskey.
Yeah.
It is very
all right.
good.
So with that, I think we're gonna call it a night. We're pushing 80. We're actually over 80 minutes. So, Theresa, want to thank you so much. It's been awesome talking to you.
Yeah, it's been great.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you for being a much better co-host than Josh Galala today.
Seriously, well, just fire that guy.
I think it's time. He's been running dry lately. I think he needs to recharge a bit. So, oh, Eric Wake just showed up. Sorry, buddy. We're just calling it a night.
That's what happens when you double book your live streams.
Seriously.
Who does that?
So yeah, so guys, thank you so much for joining us this Wednesday. The next stream should be 2 weeks from today. So look out for that. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook to get any notifications or time changes.
Where can people follow you, Theresa?
Yes. Canadian Whiskey Smith on Instagram. I am on YouTube, but I'm not putting out YouTube content. So yeah, Canadian Whiskey Smith on Instagram.
We'll link it.
Awesome.
We'll link it on the description, but down below, and we'll put a shout out on our platforms as well. So yeah, with that, guys, thank you very much for joining us this Wednesday, and Sláinte and happy International Whiskey Day.
Cheers.
Cheers.